Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hello Monday. It is Monday, May 8th. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. Let me see if I can get a little bit more light coming in here. There we go. That's a little better. How are you? First, a little bit order of business. I did record a Hello Monday last Monday. I was out and about running some errands, and I was using my cell phone. And I don't record on my cell phone a lot. So I didn't know that the default setting for upload was private. So a lovely viewer, a friend, reached out to me and asked if I was okay a few days later, and I was like, oh shoot. I am not, even with YouTube, viscerally attached to social media. So I have been really busy this past few weeks, and so I'm committed to doing these lives. But like with last week, I didn't come back in and check comments or, do any of the back end stuff because I just haven't been in my office. So, yeah, that's why I didn't know. But I'll try to do better. I always say I always try to do better. But it's just a very busy season in my life right now. And once I get these projects done, then I'll be able to refocus back on more of my creative projects and being in the office and all the things. So let me say hi in the comments here, just in case anybody happens to stumble in. Again, if you're watching this on the replay, that's totally fine. 4 o'clock on Monday is just really what works best for my schedule and lifestyle. But I know it's a busy time. People are at work, doing your own things, running your own errands, doing your own life stuff. And I don't expect you to drop everything to come watch me. If you can, that would be great. I'd love to see you. We can have a little live one-on-one. But otherwise, it's totally fine. I enjoy reading the comments after the fact just as much. And I do have a couple of you guys who have asked me some questions from last week. So I will answer those in addition to today's question of the day. Let me just see if there's any other housekeeping I wanted to mention. I don't think so. So why don't we go ahead and dive right in? Let me see here. A lot of people were very kind. They said they liked meeting my husband Andrew on the live last week, and I keep telling him that people enjoy meeting him and seeing us together, but he can be a little camera shy. So maybe for special occasions, or if we could think up of, or if you can suggest an idea for a live we can do together, please let me know and I'll try to get him back on. Okay, let's see. Today's question. Oh, okay. Man, there's a lot of pet questions in these. But I will go ahead and answer this one. What are your favorite places to take your dog? Well, this is kind of a tricky question because Alton is he's very friendly and he loves people, but he also gets very excited, and he's a larger breed dog. So it's not like Alton and I can just, pick him up if he kind of gets too hyper. When he was a puppy, I took him 3 days a week, sometimes 4, to a very special to me dog park. It was open to the whole community, but it was kind of a members only, and it was run through our church at the time. So, like I said, you didn't have to be a member of our church to go. But that is how some people were connected through it. That's how I got to know about it. And it was just a really large field, almost the size of a kind of a school-sized soccer field, if you will, not like bleachers and everything, but it was a large park. And I like the hello Bon. Hope I'm saying your name right, Bon Sioma. Thank you for being here. If you want to put in the chat, where you're from, if you're from the States, or I'm just interested in your name, your screen name. So I really liked it because it was a little bit more of a controlled environment, and we kind of knew the regulars and things like that. So he got a lot of good puppy socialization and exercise at the dog park. Of course, he loved that. We also did training, taking him to retail spaces like Home Depot or Lowe's when we were thinking about training him to be a service dog, learning access issues. Chiming in from Arizona. Okay. Well, I still like your name. So very cool. And so, and he likes that. But, taking him out just in public spaces was always a little tricky, again, because of, controlling him in terms of not getting too excited around other animals. He did have kind of a bad jumping habit when he was younger, which we didn't like, and we thankfully, hello, John, welcome, and which we trained out of him. But then I also mentioned in a previous video, he struggled for a while getting inside of cars. He had some fear or phobia. And so obviously if you need to take him somewhere, you got to get him in the car. And he just didn't like it. So that kind of curbed a lot of our taking him out places too. So, we loved him, being with him. We would take him to family members' houses. And a lot of it now is just, and has been for the past several years, just taking him on walks. He loves to, get out and get exercise, which is really important for his physical health and mental health. And so I'll walk him to the neighborhood park, always keep him on leash, and just around our neighborhood. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers the question. Um, any place he's with me is a favorite place because, I love him, and obviously I'm very biased. Hi, Donna or Jack, whoever is watching this. Good to see you. Thank you for joining today. I was just talking a little bit more about Alton and favorite places to take him. And yeah, no one place in particular, but just anytime we can be out with him and have it be a fun experience and have him have fun is something that we really enjoy. Now, as for the questions from previous videos, I had missed this last week, and I'm sorry. Donna or Jack asked about if I'm going to do a spring garden. And typically, I do like gardening. My dad used to really love to garden. And actually, when I was a kid growing up, he loved what's called square foot gardening. So it's basically, he built raised beds, and he built them, I want to say, 4x4 feet dimensions. So, okay. Hi, Jack. Thank you for joining. And thank you for the questions and for checking in on me. I really appreciate that. And I am okay. So, but anyway, back to the gardening question. So, gardening has always been something that I've done since I was a little girl. And so I do enjoy it. I love the connection that I have it, and the memory and experience with my dad. He was really into it. I'm not quite so into it, but through doing it with him as a kid, I learned a lot about, good, what to grow, good watering habits, harvesting, all the things. And so here at my house now as an adult, Andrew and I in the past have kept a very small garden, maybe like 5 or 6 crops, at, maximum. We've done tomatoes, done some peppers, cucumbers. I really like to grow things that I know I like to eat. So, but even with that, if you have a really good bumper crop, I remember one year we were growing so many cucumbers, I just had to start giving them to neighbors because I was like, there's no way we can eat all these cucumbers. That's a vegetable that, you really can't freeze. At least I don't think you can. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But it's just, and it doesn't keep very long. They tend to go soft, and they tend to go bad pretty quickly. So, but it didn't deter me. I still enjoyed growing it. And as far as this year, I've thought about doing a garden, but we're already in the first week in May. And I've been so consumed with these house projects that, I said to Drew, I think I just want to wait and, do it next year when I really have more time and attention. Gardening, while it's not, super expensive, it can be kind of pricey. I always buy from starts. So I find starting from seeds mm, a little bit beyond my patience, put it that way. So, um, I like to start from starts, and it can add up. By the time you get the start itself, and then you get the soil, and then come on, you got to get some pretty gloves, get some accessories. It can add up. So I think we're just gonna hold off and dedicate time. And I will say one other mitigating factor is in the last garden we did, we had a rodent problem, and that was really disheartening to grow some really beautiful tomato plants. And like in one night, I'll just say, rats. California and the Bay Area where we live is there's a lot of citrus around, and so at nighttime after the sun goes down, there is a thriving rodent population, and we've been very thankful that for us they've stayed outside, but and not like getting caught in our house and stuff. But figuring out safe ways to deal with that, and not have them eat all our crops or our garden is a challenge now. We don't want to put out any poison because of Alton. And, well, you know, it's not so much of like, I'm an animal lover. I mean, right? So I can't say that I love rats, but I also don't like the thought of torturing rats, even rats. I don't like thinking of inflicting pain on another living thing. So, you know, if we could come up with a truce or a compromise where I could just tell Mr. Rat, you know, go eat the orange trees over there, or we've got some persimmon trees that we could care less about, but leave our leave our tomatoes and cucumbers alone, I would. But I don't think they really negotiate that way. So, if you're a gardener and you have some comments or thoughts on ways that you've dealt somewhat humanely and successfully with rodents in a garden, let me know. I would be all ears. And then the second question I got from Angie, which is somewhat related, which is kind of cool. She asks, "Is there any springtime activity or spot that you like to go?" And I would say short answer is no. Spring is a cool, like a neat, like a good season. I don't really have negative feelings about spring, but it's also not my favorite season right now. And it might just have to do with this time in my life. I don't know. Might be seasonal and seasonally. um, in the spring here in the Bay Area, we get to this place where it can be really cold at night and warm, very warm during the day. So I'm running the heat at night, much to the chagrin of Andrew. I'm running the heat at night, but then the air conditioner during the day because I'm very temperature intolerant. I'm very much a Goldilocks. I like it just right. I feel like I have enough other issues I have to deal with physically in my life that being uncomfortable due to temperature should not be one of them. So we got air conditioning many, many years ago, mainly because I complained a lot. Andrew would go off to the office and get, his full um, luxury of air conditioning. And then, yeah, at night, back then, typically it would cool enough that he could just open some windows and he'd be fine. But meanwhile, I'm home in the hot box. And it took him experiencing 1 week of that in the summer where he had it off, where he was like, oh, okay, now I understand. So, yeah, just kind of that literal change in nature. If the day's getting longer, time change really is hard on me. Um, so yeah, spring, I don't know. I just kind of get through it. I really much more enjoy fall and winter. Um, and yeah, so other than gardening in spring, which I've kind of already talked about, there really is no thing. Oh, I just thought of it. And it has to do with why I've been so busy. Spring cleaning. That is one thing about spring I like. Christmas is done, birthday is done. My birthday's in February. And I love spring cleaning. And we have coming up actually this weekend Santa Clara cleanup weekend. It's been going on all month, and I've talked about that in a video before. And if I remember, I will put a link in the description. So that is where we pay our city, and they do kind of a expanded garbage pickup. You can put out things like small furniture, non-hazardous materials, whatnot, and they will come pick it up. So, I've been taking a lot to Goodwill because I don't want a bunch of stuff that's very usable and might be enjoyable to somebody going to a landfill. But, things that like a dog bed that Alton destroyed and some just very clearly broken things that I wouldn't want to give anybody, they will come pick that stuff up and they say, and I hope, dispose of it properly. So that is coming up for us. And yeah, so spring cleaning. That is definitely one thing in the spring that I really enjoy. That goes along with my kind of nesting, domestic, organizational, and by the way, since I don't know if I would make a dedicated video about this, but I'll shout it out on the live. If you have Peacock network app, and you've seen the show, the new Amy Poehler show called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, I encourage you to check it out. I mean, I have my own issues around death and mortality, so I get it. But I went into watching the first episode with an open mind. I am of Swedish heritage, so that connection for me was pretty cool. They actually used three Swedish three real Swedish people. How much nationals, yeah, Swedish nationals. I think that's how you'd say it. Real people from Sweden. Not that they're not real people, but they're real Swedish. And so the language and although they speak in English, but they do speak in Swedish sometimes to each other, and they use Swedish terminology, and I think very interesting, and it's a different take on a lot of the clutter clean out shows. So like if you ever watched the Peter Walsh show on I think it was All Too Much. That was several years ago. And then there was the Spark Joy, Marie Kondo, she had a show. And then I think then there was like the Home Edit show. So if you're into those kind of shows, this is definitely a different take. And I thought it was really good. So I'd like to see a season 2. So selfishly, on my little corner of the internet here, I'm promoting it. So yeah, and this has been a very chatty live. Thank you to my new friends who are joining today. I don't know if you're still on. And thank you to Donna and Jack and Angie and all my friends who, check in on me and follow up. And I really appreciate it. I love doing these. I'm committed to doing this. Even if I can't get out any other videos, I'm showing up on Monday at 4 o'clock, whenever and wherever I am. And hopefully, now that I know how to do it on my mobile better, see, here's a picture of Alton. That's my screen picture. He's laying there with his favorite bear, Pookie Bear. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Keep the questions coming. Thanks, Liz. He is a cutie. I have so many pictures of him on my phone. It's that way it is, though, right? Parents do that with their kids. I do that with my dog. At any rate, I'm going to stop rambling. I hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great start to your week. It's Monday, I know, but, every day can bring something new. So, thank you for watching, and keep the questions coming, and I will see you next week, if not before. Okay, bye for now.